believe that even paradise can have a dark side. If this video resonates with you, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel to follow truly meaningful stories. Join me as we explore the hidden side of San Diego, where dreams and reality collide without mercy. Some mornings in San Diego are breathtakingly beautiful. The sun sparkles on the ocean, children laugh and cast long shadows on the sand, and locals stroll peacefully in the sunlight. It feels like a scene straight out of a travel documentary about the paradise of Southern California. But just a few blocks away, in the corner of a park, there are people living without homes, tents and beat-up cars lined up, half-washed clothes hanging on fences. San Diego, a symbol of American tourism and culture, carries within it a stark and suffocating contrast. In 2024, the city witnessed a powerful undercurrent surge. The homeless population rose by 42%, reaching 19,358 people, the highest in the city's modern history. This is no longer the story of a few unlucky individuals, it's a full-blown homelessness crisis, spreading to every street corner, every bus stop, and once peaceful neighborhoods. 65% of these individuals are unsheltered, with no roof over their heads. They sleep in cars, on park benches, and under bridges, places that once served as paths for tourists exploring new lands. And what's even more heartbreaking, the crisis doesn't stop with adults. Nearly 30,000 children in San Diego experience homelessness each year. In documentaries about homelessness, we often see the weary, burdened eyes of adults. But imagine that same look in the eyes of a 7-year-old child, clutching a backpack, unsure of where they'll sleep tonight. This isn't a movie, it's reality. What do you think about this? Leave a comment and let's speak up together. So what has dragged this once livable city into such a dark spiral? The answer becomes clearer when we listen to those living it firsthand. Take Maria, 63, a former librarian. After a serious health issue left her unable to work, she could no longer afford rent and now lives in an old car parked on the side of the road. Or Jamal, a veteran who once served in the Middle East. He now sleeps in a tent near Balboa Park, caught between PTSD and a lack of medical support. Their stories represent thousands of others, people who once had homes, jobs, and dreams, swept away by the relentless tide of instability. Chloe's story, a 19-year-old girl who ran away from home due to abuse and now drifts through East Village, reminds us that homelessness isn't just a result of poverty. It's also about the lack of safety within one's own family, and the failure of the system meant to protect vulnerable youth. These individuals don't need pity, they need to be seen, heard, and given a real chance. But these are just a few names among tens of thousands of lives now covered in shadow. Carlos, once a chef at a well-known restaurant chain, lost his job during the pandemic and couldn't return to the workforce due to his age and chronic illness. Linda, once a top student, is now unhoused after being unable to afford tuition and dorm fees. Each of these lives was once a normal part of society, until a single turning point sent everything spiraling out of control. The root causes are complex, but they begin with something all too familiar: skyrocketing housing prices and living costs. As of early 2025, the median home price in San Diego has reached $900,000, nearly double the national average. Rent isn't much better, with the average one-bedroom apartment now costing over $3,000 a month. For the average working person, it's an impossible equation. And as the cost of living continues to climb, from food and transportation to healthcare, more and more people are being pushed out of their safety zones and straight into homelessness. The storm of rising costs doesn't just affect housing, it's also shaking two other essential pillars: education and healthcare. Homeless families often can't keep their children in school due to a lack of transportation, a permanent address, or proper documentation. Kids are forced to drop out, and adults can't access medical care because they have no insurance or way to get to a hospital. Each story feels like a painful slice of a society slowly cracking apart, day by day. Are you starting to see the truth behind the city's shiny facade? Leave a comment to share your perspective, because every voice matters. Now, let's keep digging into the other troubling shadows, where crime is on the rise, violence becomes a daily reality, and trust is tested day after day. Crime is no longer isolated to a few scattered neighborhoods. In 2023, San Diego saw a 15% increase in total criminal cases, surpassing 200,000 incidents in just 1 year. That's 35.4 crimes for every 1,000 residents, placing the city among those with the highest crime rates in the United States. These aren't just cold statistics, every case represents a broken family, a shaken citizen, a wounded community. In that context, people experiencing homelessness are even more vulnerable, often becoming victims or being pushed into crime as a means of survival. Without personal security or protection from the legal system, they live in constant fear, not just of hunger or cold, but of the night, when tent encampments are most at risk of theft, harassment, and even assault. Closely tied to this situation is the growing issue of gangs and organized crime. San Diego is now home to over 100 active gangs, with an estimated 191,000 individuals involved directly or indirectly. Neighborhoods like Logan Heights and Encanto aren't just working-class communities, they've become silent battlegrounds between underground forces. In travel documentaries, these areas are often shown briefly as vibrant urban culture. But the real story of this country, when you look closer, is about families forced to live caught between violence and instability, with no way out. And when that darkness seeps into the system itself, it carries the stench of corruption. There was a time when San Diego pledged hundreds of millions of dollars to build affordable housing, but many of those projects were either repurposed or saw suspicious cost overruns. In 2021, a $110 million fund originally intended for emergency housing was instead used to beautify a commercial district, a decision that sparked outrage over such deeply misplaced priorities. But if we only focus on the pain, we'll remain stuck in a cycle of helplessness. It's time for both society and government to face their responsibilities head-on. Housing policies must come with transparency and independent oversight. Funds meant to support the homeless must actually reach those in need, not be drained by special interests. The business community, nonprofit organizations, and everyday citizens, each of us has a role to play. Not to do the work for others, but to work with them, with empathy and concrete action. Because only when we all raise our voices together can we begin to change what once seemed impossible. It's easy to pass by a homeless person in the rush of the crowd. But if you pause, even for just a second, you'll see, they have names, childhoods, beautiful memories, and dreams still unfinished. Like Maria, who still keeps an old book with her. Like Chloe, who writes in her journal every night. And like Jamal, who remembers the exact day he was discharged from the military. They haven't disappeared, they're just being forgotten. This video isn't just storytelling, it's a mirror held up to society. It's a reminder of our role in urbanization, that true progress can't be built on the silent suffering of the vulnerable. In a world where a travel photo can go viral in seconds, honest stories like these deserve to be shared just as widely. For tourists, this video is a chance to see the real San Diego, not just the blue ocean and golden sunshine, but also the parts that urgently need change. For the international community, it's a call for empathy and action, to look deeper into the things we think we already know. Imagine if each of us, just once, chose to act instead of turning away. What could change? Maybe it's offering a warm meal, a kind word, or simply sharing a video like this so more people can see it. Those small actions, when multiplied, can become a wave strong enough to shake an entire system out of its slumber. We need a society where compassion isn't considered a luxury. A city where success isn't measured only by skyscrapers, but by how it cares for its most vulnerable. And a world where empathy isn't lost in the rush of breaking news. If this video made you think, if it made you pause, even for a moment, then leave a like, a comment, and hit subscribe. Not for the algorithm, but for the people. Because if we don't tell these stories, who will? Thank you for being here. And remember, our humanity is the heart of our existence.